Welcome to Samu't Sari, Conversations with Mimi, a weekly podcast by Dinah Social, also a member of the Guerrilla Podcast Syndicate. Samu't Sari is where we can show that ordinary people do extraordinary things. Tune in to be entertained and to learn something new with your host, Mimi Lorilla.
Hello and welcome to Samu't Sari Conversations with Mimi, a podcast featuring hot topics and other topics of interest for men and women alike. This is your host, Mimi Lorilla. Sometimes you are with me solo and sometimes we are with guests. So when we feature guests, we feature them for their passion and commitment to their professional talents. Here at Samu't Sari, we share stories to inspire you, stories from ordinary people who make extraordinary things. And in today's episode, I promised a part two. I keep repeating that. Of the interview with Jamie and Tina last time about the experiences of international students here in Australia. But today, it's extra special because we have another additional guest. So this is like a panel forum now. And the guests that we have, in addition to Jamie and Tina. So Jamie, for the benefit of the viewers and listeners, just wave so people know which one is Jamie. Tina, please also say hi briefly. And our new guest for today is Leia Tadio. Leia, can you tell our viewers, listeners, something about yourself before you are international student of Australia? So what did you do in the Philippines? And now that you're here, what course are you studying?
Okay, I am Leia Tadio. I am from Baguio City. I finished my bachelor's degree in psychology. So before I came here as an international student, I was a psychonutrition, a guidance counselor, and a school teacher.
So you are kind of like in between the experiences of Jamie and Tina. You are all in that space. But here in Australia, what course are you studying?
I am finishing my master's in social work at the same school with Tina and Jamie.
Okay, so at Federation.
Federation, yes.
Yeah, okay. So I think you are as excited as they are to move forward to the next stage in your life here in Australia. So are you planning on bringing back your skills to the Philippines, or are you planning on staying here, finding work here, and eventually to settle here in Australia?
At first, I just want to finish my degree here, then go back to the Philippines. But after a few years, Australia is becoming more interesting for me. So I think I'll give a shot here and try to see what happens after I graduate.
Yeah.
And then let's see.
That's good. Do you have a family or are you still single?
I'm single.
Okay, single.
Ready to mingle. Yes.
Available. So many opportunities. Remember, Australia is so big. It's a country and a continent in itself. So there are many states and lots of people that you will meet along the way. Okay, so for the benefit of those who are watching us for the first time or listening us for the first time, the first episode really talks about Tina and Jamie's journey, what they have gone through as international students here in Australia, particularly in Melbourne, because we are based in Melbourne. And today we agreed that we will do a part two to dive deeper into some of those issues, challenges, and barriers. Ladies, when I did my research, I'm preparing for my show, I found that you have to tell me if this is true or not true. But based on my research, there are at least a minimum of 5 areas where most international students experience the most challenging aspects of their life. Number 1 is financial hardship, which is true because you mentioned that the last time. Differences in the educational system, you mentioned that. Language barrier is another major thing. Cultural differences, studying from somewhere other than where you are now. Obviously, there are other people from different cultures that you meet every day. The way that the teachers, the culture of the school itself is different from one school to the other. And sometimes there are instances of workplace harassment. And this is because if you are working outside of the school, to make ends meet, then you are, you would definitely experience also those little, I don't know, not necessarily bullying maybe, but some difficulties to adapt to your work, especially if you're working in a different job right now to survive. So I want to open the discussion right now in terms of what you think among the five that I mentioned is very relevant to you or is more rampant or prevalent as far as Filipino international students is concerned. So anybody can respond to that question, because I've been away from the school for so many years, so my experience might be different from yours. But now that you all share the same school, you know each other, and you know, the pathway to residency, for example. Have you ever experienced any of these five difficulties? Maybe that's the other way of opening up that question.
Yes, I definitely experienced that one.
Which one, Tina? All of them? Some of them?
Being bullied by, because I'm doing my part-time work at the aged care facility, and one of the employees talked to me during our break in the staff room, and we're just eating there, and then she suddenly said that, oh, why is it the government, Australian government, keep on accepting international students here, and then if they're going to work here, they get in trouble, blah, blah, blah. So they said that international students are not worthy to stay here. And I'm there, I'm eating, and I'm holding my knife and fork, and I'm feeling numb, and I could not say anything because there's some other stuff too. What I did, I just walk out, and then by the time the other employee walked through to my side, I talked to her, and then she's the one advocate that my feelings, I'm not comfortable with the other employee. So
That's right.
yeah, she told that the employee that to not to say something harsh, because that will be a form of bullying, and if Tina will experience that again, she will report you. So it gives me courage to to stand up for myself. But I did not say directly to her, but on behalf of me, there's someone standing for me.
That's good. That's good that there are people in your workplace that are standing up for you, because what if you have no one? How are you going to handle this? Have you escalated this issue to your manager? Have you brought it up to their attention, or you just kept quiet at this time?
I just kept quiet because I read the policy that it's until third time for the bullying instances, but I keep on record. I put it in my small notebook, and if that's gonna happen again, I'm gonna record it again, and then we'll move forward to the next step.
Yeah. So it's so sad to hear those stories. What about you, Jamie and Leah? Do you have any experiences similar to Tina?
So far, none.
So
So
far,
far,
none.
none.
Lucky.
For me, I experienced it during my first work because I applied in a hotel as a housekeeper. The manager would shout at me every time I commit a mistake. So for me, I experienced a little bit of trauma working in a hotel setting and working as a housekeeper, because every time only a small detail of mistake, he would shout. I can hear my name being shouted along the corridor of the hotel. So I
Wow.
think that's the first trauma that I experienced. So every time I hear the sound of the elevator, the bell from the elevator, or a bunch of keys, I panic because I know that he will come again and shout at me.
So are you still feeling anxious every time you hear those keys or the bell ringing?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay.
Not
That's
anymore.
good. So because Jamie, you haven't experienced this, so I'll go back to Leah and Tina. How did you manage your anxiety, your emotional stress? Did you go to the doctor, or did you just keep it to yourself, or how did you, did you let it prolong, or you dismissed it? Something like, I better take it out of my head so I don't feel more traumatized. Because you need to continue working. You have to go back to that place. And you don't want to be, scared. Because I experienced that before. I used to work in a place in Quezon City. I hated the boss. I always get stomach cramps and diarrhea with the thought of going to a meeting with that person. I hope it didn't happen to you, but how did you manage it? Emotional stress and psychological stress.
I actually told them a lie that I'm moving out of Melbourne, because I think it's the only way for me to get out of that one. It's only the way. I think for me, it's the only way for me to save my sanity. Because the manager would also call me after working hours just to inform me about my mistakes again.
Okay.
So I think that's the only way for me to escape him.
Yeah. What about you, Tina? What was your strategy? Did you tell something like a little white lie to get out of the situation?
As for me, I just widen up my perspective, my thinking, the way of my thinking that certain employee just saying that one, maybe she's not aware of the policy or the Australian government idea while they keep on accepting international students here. Because all we know that the big part of the pie graph in the economics in Australia, if there's no international students here, the economy will back down.
Yes.
So that's what I am one of the important person here, that why Australian government accepting us. So that's why I keep boasting myself, and then but deep inside of me there's something also, and I'm reach out with my sisters. I talk to them, and then they give me emotional support.
That's good. So I'm picking up two things. To protect yourself, if you don't have anyone with you, if it needs a white lie to get out of the situation, why not? And in Tina's case, she's got her support network, her support system through her family, and then through her knowing the rules of the trade. You know that you are important here. So maybe those people have not read about the rules. So that's important. The reason why we're extracting this information from you is so other people can learn from you guys if they are also in the same situation. So that was workplace harassment. Jamie, because you didn't experience that, which among the other 5 areas did you find the most challenging?
I think the most challenging among those 5 was the structure in the academics. I think the difference is that in the Philippines, we were used to the normal true or false or multiple type kind of exams. But when I came here and studied my social work degree in Federation University, I encountered assessments that are mostly essays. And I'm not the type of person who loves essays. So it was kind of hard for me because I really need to prolong sentences and make sure that I get the word limits per essay. So it was a challenging for me, but with the help of my co-students, I was able to get some tips on how to do assessments that are mostly essays.
Yeah, that's right. And I noticed that the Australian prompts, those questions don't really mean one question. One question has 4 different layers that you have to tackle each and every part of it. For example, they say they provide a scenario first. For example, the Australian government provides resources for international students. Name one challenge of international students. Discuss why this is this and that. And suggest ways of da-da-da-da-da-da. So in one question, you already have 4 or 5 things you have to address in 250 to 300 words. So I understand exactly what you're talking about. So let's go back to the other area that we discussed the last time. Financial is really a very challenging thing for international students to face. And Tina and Jamie talked about what they did, how they managed to raise the funds to study here. So, Leah, in your experience, are you sponsored by the Australian government? Are you a scholar from the Philippines? Did you self-fund your studies here? How are you surviving your everyday needs and your tuition fees and all of that? If you don't mind me asking that question.
It's my father who provides all of my financial needs. So because our tuition fee is really expensive, and it's really impossible for only one person to earn that much amount of money in a certain month. So we have to pay around more than 12,000 every 4 months, 5 months.
Wow.
So it's really impossible with our limited working hours. It's really impossible for us to pay that on our own.
Mm.
So
So scholar ni Papa.
Opo.
That's okay. The thing is, at least you have some parents to, support you. That they really want you to succeed here. So your success is their payment that you cannot return to them in a material way. But it's the feeling of the pride and your achievement is the prize that they are really after. So my hypothetical question is, what if there, you can't do your work at the moment, or somebody or your boss fires you? What would be your strategy in order to raise funds again to make you float? Meaning to make you financially afloat while waiting for a job. Because remember, you're almost done, and sometimes I heard some people there on a bridging visa. I'm not sure whether your visas are current or whether you're bridging visa. So there are also, like you said, some restrictions on the number of hours that you can take for your work. So what would be an alternative for you while waiting for the job? What would you do if you run out of cash? If you get fired from your job right now?
And ask my father again for money.
Ask your father for more money. Okay.
Because
Do you
with
have
the pandemic,
land in the Philippines you can sell, or farm animals you can sell, or things like that? Okay, so at least there are some resources available. Yeah, Tina, what about you? What are you going to do if worst comes to worst at the moment?
Actually, I'm engaging in online business right now.
Okay, so doing something online is good. So what is this online business? Maybe some people are listening to us might be interested in your online business.
It's an energetic product, but actually it was just suggested by my friend from Canada.
Okay.
And I am just a student visa holder here, and I don't have enough money to start that business. So she helped me.
Okay.
She actually money to do the registration form and everything. So I am so lucky.
Okay, so at the moment that helps you out with your commission and your product sales, maybe. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So online is good. I haven't really thought about that, but that's a good suggestion. Jamie, what about you? What would you do if worst comes to worst?
Actually, I am thankful that my brother is a chef. So I'm actually collaborating with him. Actually, it's an idea now, especially now because he has limited work. But we were collaborating about selling food, like Filipino food that he cooks. So maybe I'll share it with you if you're interested. We're doing online business as well, just like Astina's, of Filipino online food for extra income, especially
that's good. So which areas are you servicing? Are you servicing whole of Melbourne, the east, the west, the north?
As of now, maybe we're servicing the north part of Melbourne. So if
okay, that's good. That's great. So send me the link so we can promote it as well. Ikaw din, Tina, send me the link so we can promote it. We have to help each other. At the moment, what I'm doing is I'm studying, like self-study. For example, how to do social media management, how to do. So I'm more on the service-oriented industry because I want to upskill myself. So I can also do other on the side things aside from my day job. Just because I'm interested in it, and we always talk about upskilling, learning, continuous learning, always trying something new. So what is the secret to a person who is an international student to survive? Like last time, that was where we landed. Tina and Jamie, that was our last topic, but we ran out of time. So I want to kind of extend that subtopic, if you want to call it subtopic. What is in it? What is in you as individuals, as women, that helps you survive all the struggles? We talked about being true to yourself. Don't stop. Jamie said, think about it like wala ka nang babalikan. This is it. So apart from that, are there any other things? Maybe we'll start with Leah because she will probably inject a fresh idea so you don't get influenced by what Tina and Jamie had already said. So if somebody is here or wants to be like you, how to be you po, what advice will you give them? How to survive your life here?
For me, I think I survived because of my support group. Because you have to find someone here in Australia that you can talk to, that you are comfortable talking to. Because sometimes if you talk to people in the Philippines, even though you're close, they wouldn't know your struggle here until they see you or they experienced it.
That's right.
So I think it's find a good support group among your classmates or anyone from your community that you can trust.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. So what if you are like Jamie, a solopreneur? When she started, she felt all alone. And Tina also mentioned that even though you have relatives here, they're not necessarily going to be near you, that you have to be very independent. How are you going to manage that?
I think you just have to be, you should have a high resiliency. You have to be resilient.
Yeah.
And you have to have a strong, be resilient with everything.
Yeah.
Because one of my friends told me that you cannot rely on anybody here except yourself.
That's true.
So you really have to help yourself.
Yep. Jamie, anything to add from your experience or your thoughts which you shared the last time?
I think self-care strategies. It is important for someone to develop a self-care strategy, like for example dancing, doing yoga would be helpful because sometimes your support group may not be available when in times of need. For example, sometimes I experience like I experience being super sad, and then Leah or Tina is not available to talk. So I have to think of another way so that my stress or my anxiety would be, lessened. So I do yoga. So I encourage everyone to do yoga as part of their self-care strategy because it really helps your mental.
I'll try yoga. I don't know if I can do those different positions. I don't think my body is soft enough to do those. But I'll see. I'll try to YouTubing it and see how I go. Now, my question is slightly different for Tina because Tina is a mom. Tina has kids, so if she's on a different level. She's no longer single. She has a husband. She has to think about many things. Tina, I think I can relate to you more because I also have kids and all of that. But how I think what you have has more layers of pressure and stress. So like you said before, sometimes naiiyak ka, you can't help it because of everything that's going on. How do you deal with that? Tell us what it's like for you.
Oh, yes. So I think I am lucky enough that I'm with my husband here in Melbourne, because otherwise, if he wasn't here, I am in depression stage maybe. So that's one of my secrets, that it's because of my partner. And then the other one is just like I'm thinking that I'm knowing that others struggles too. So it's not only me, and I eliminate the habit of being self-pity. Because at first, during my first year here in Melbourne, I'm always, myself is just like I'm thinking that what I'm doing here, it's just like the self-pity is above me, but then I trying to eliminate it, and until now, I trying to be more resilient, and
Yeah.
also accept support. Because at first I'm always shutting down people because I don't want them to know my problems and everything. But then, as they said, that find someone that you can talk to, especially those people that who could feel in. It's just like empathetic feeling. It's just that she knows that what are your struggles here.
Yeah.
So I think a right person to tell my problems.
And it's also good for us to talk about these things in open forums, because some people might be just kinikim-kim lang. They're just taking it to themselves. They're not, letting it out. And maybe if by any chance they listen to us, they say, oh, so it's not only me, like you said, there's other people are also undergoing that. So they don't feel that, the world is too heavy on their shoulders, because they can obviously reach out to other people, and you're giving them good advice, which is really, really good. So my next question is, moving towards the future, and your plan is obviously to succeed in your field. How are you going to pay it forward once you reach that success? You already got what you were waiting for all your life, and you want to share that success to other people. How do you think you will be paying it forward, or how are you going to give back to the community, so to speak? Do you have? Are you already thinking of that, or maybe not? Athena waving your hand, so that means you are already thinking of that.
Yeah, I shared this to Leia before, that I told her that if ever I'm gonna be a successful social worker here in Melbourne or another state, so I'm gonna give back what I earned here. So it's just like, it's because I'm a public teacher overseas, so I experienced and I've seen those kids that they don't have any shoes. So my plan is to give every year a just like shoes that could fill in their needs of the kids there, because they are walking from their home barefoot.
Yeah.
So it's so sad. So
That's
it's
nice.
just like, yeah.
You're like Corina Sanchez, but Corina Sanchez gives slippers.
Yeah. The slippers, mine is just like the Crocs. It's just like that one.
Yeah. You're level up. You're level up because your shoes, she's just providing slippers. But that's good. That's something you need to keep in mind, because that's a nice project to do. Leia, anything you want to do in the future, or what your plan is when you become a successful social worker?
Actually, I'm still thinking, but maybe I'll just go to my old workplace, because they have a social work class there. So maybe I can impart some of my knowledge on how social workers here in Australia work, and compare it to the Philippines, and also encourage them that they are on the right path, and being a social worker is really fulfilling.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay, that's a good plan too. So start small and then expand from that. Jamie, your thoughts?
I actually have two plans. The first one is to pay back to my parents who sent me here to study. That's my first goal after succeeding here. And then the second one is actually I'm starting it now. I am looking for an organization to help, but I am focusing on kids as well, just like Tina, and I am planning to give them school supplies so that they can do their studies and continue it, and someday they would be like me, to be successful and share it with others too.
Yeah, you will be the youth's influencer, the future idol of those students. Very nice, ladies. I really want to end our program on a high, and I really like all your ideas. And I want our audience or our viewers to also think about how they could give back once they become successful. So I hope that you did like our show for today. So this is a very short show, and I think we've covered everything. And I hope that you keep in mind that you are now one of those people that others will be looking up to based on your experience. So keep it up, and you're almost there at the end. Just a little pinch, and then you're done, and you're on your way to the ultimate success. So Jamie, Tina, and Leah, very, very thank you. I really, really am appreciative of the fact that you're here. I think we have to end the program now, and hopefully you guys can come back when you're successful. Tell me what you have been doing, and that will be the greatest gift that you can offer my show, which is to continue to become my consultants. You're like my consultants now because we share our experiences and share it to the others. So thank you, ladies. And for the rest of our viewers, if you have any other stories or topics that you wish to feature in the show, please reach out to me via my email, amy@dynasocial.com. Samu't Sari is a member of the Guerrilla Podcast Syndicate. Please watch the other shows of the Guerrilla Podcast Network, but watch my show as well. Obviously, Samu't Sari. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you, ladies. Let's say goodbye to them. And here's wishing you a good day. And to all my viewers, hope to see you in the next conversation. Bye.
If you find value in this episode, make sure you like and subscribe to be notified of new releases. If you have any questions or suggestions, please reach out to Guerrilla Podcast or send us an email at mimi@dynasocial.com. Spread the word and don't forget to tune in next time.